What's going on? So in this video right here, I want to talk about the Romanian deadlift. It's a common lift that a lot of people, they complain about their back hurting. So their back hurts when they do it, then they avoid the movement and they're not going to get the benefit of the movement. Now, side note, there are some moves that just aren't right for some people. That's totally fine. You find another way of doing that exercise. But if you're making these common mistakes, hopefully this video will help you iron that out, give it a try, and then if you still have pain, then maybe change the exercise. But first things first, a lot of times what people tend to do is they initiate the move from their chest rather than their hips. So what I mean by that is they'll start here, their hips, and they'll lean forward like this, right? They have the dumbbells here and they'll lean forward, and it ends up happening is you get back pain because it's not a chest forward leaning movement. It's actually a driving the hips back. It's a hinging movement, meaning I root in here, right? And I'm gonna push, pretend there's an imaginary wall back here, and I'm pressing the hips back as if I'm trying to touch it, or I'm closing the car door, so to speak, right? So if you drive your hips back, naturally, your chest will appear that it's leaning forward, but that's not where you're connected to it mentally, right? You're driving the hips back. That's number one. Number two is when people go to do the move, they tend to look up. Right? So imagine I'm holding dumbbells. I have some right here. I'll show you in a minute. But as we hinge at the hips, we're going down and we start to look up like this, which then arches the low back excessively, right? So what ends up happening is the rib cage opens up like this and my tailbone, and I'm arched in this position, which is putting some pressure on my spine, which doesn't feel good, right? So the solution to that is to keep the core engaged. And what you gotta do is you gotta take the rib cage, right? And you have to shut them down. You gotta pull the ribs down and therefore not tuck, but point the tailbone down. Okay, so I close that gap. As soon as I do, I feel the abs, they come on. Then from there, I need to take my chin and pull it back here. Imagine you're holding a tennis ball between your chin and your collarbones. You wanna keep it there. And now I got the dumbbells here, and I'm gonna drive those hips back, maintaining that position there, and I'm able to keep my core engaged so I don't feel anything at all in my low back. I get it where it's supposed to be, which is in the hamstrings and the butt, primarily. You feel low back should be working, but not pain on the spine itself, okay? There's a big difference. Now, one of the most other common things that people do is when they're hinging from the hips, right? Let's say they have all that right. They're hinging and the dumbbells start to get out in front like this. The further the dumbbells come out in front, the more load is on the low back. So you're not gonna feel good. It feels horrible. And you're gonna hurt yourself. That's how you blow a disc out or have some type of injury. We don't want that, right? So what you wanna do is keep all those other points that I talked about before engaged, right? And then I'm gonna glue these weights to my legs. Okay, I'm pushing them into my thighs, hinging, I literally drag them down the legs, almost like you're shaving your legs, and then I drag them back up. Okay, push them back, and drag. So those are the most common things that I see working with people on a regular basis. If you can just work on one or all of those things, number one, you're gonna get more out of your exercise program. You're gonna get more out of that exercise in general, and you will remain pain and injury free, which is the whole point of exercise, is to be fit to do what you wanna do with your life. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment. I'm happy to answer them, and I appreciate you watching the video.